Chapter 1. The signature that ended my marriage. I entered the boardroom expecting an argument about expansion costs. I did not expect to watch my marriage die beneath white lights. Elena stood at the head of the table, wearing the navy suit I had bought for our 5th anniversary. My wife looked calm, but her fingers pressed hard against the folder before her. "Adrian, sit down," she said. "I am sitting. Then please let me finish." Victor Dane smiled from the chair beside her. I had not seen him in 11 years, yet I knew him at once. Elena's first love had the same polished confidence, the same careful eyes. Marcus Bell tapped the table. "We are ready, Elena." She opened the folder. "Veyron Labs needs aggressive leadership. Our competitors are moving faster, and our debt limits future growth." "We discussed expansion," I said, "not surrender." Victor leaned back. "You call it surrender because you are emotionally attached to old methods. I call it surrender because your firm gets our patents, our research teams, and every future government contract." Elena looked at me. "Dane Capital will manage those assets during the merger." There was no merger proposal in yesterday's documents. There is now. I stared at her. "You changed the deal overnight?" "I improved it. You gave my company to him." Her face tightened. "Our company." Victor's smile deepened. I heard my father's voice in my memory. "Never confuse a seat at the table with ownership of the table." Marcus cleared his throat. "Adrian, your objections are noted." "Noted." I looked around at directors who had once thanked me for saving their jobs. Did anyone read the transfer terms? One director lowered his eyes. Another studied his phone. Elena said, "Everyone received the documents 7 minutes ago. Time is valuable. So are 1,000 employees." Victor folded his hands. "Those employees will be stronger under professional management. I built this company in a rented garage, and now it needs more than a talented mechanic." I rose before I could stop myself. "Say that again." Elena stepped between us with one raised hand. "Enough." I looked at her. "You invited him here to insult me?" "I invited him to save Veyron." "From what?" "From you." The room became silent. I felt something tear inside me, but my voice stayed quiet. "Explain." "You avoid risk. You protect people who do not perform. You reject investors because you think every compromise is corruption." "I rejected Victor because his last 3 funds collapsed." Victor laughed softly. "Old news." "Unpaid creditors are not old news." Marcus struck the table with his palm. "This meeting will remain professional." I faced him. "Professional? You let an outsider rewrite the deal before a vote." Marcus gave me a thin smile. "What power does a 2% husband really have?" A few directors shifted uncomfortably. Elena whispered, "Marcus." "No," I said. "Let him speak." He shrugged. "Your wife owns the controlling shares. You kept 2% and a founder title. Sentiment does not equal authority." I looked at Elena. "Is that what you told them?" "It is what the records show." "Which records?" "The capitalization report." "The short version?" "The report." "Did you read the trust schedule?" She frowned. Victor pushed the final page toward her. "Sign, and we can begin." Elena reached into her handbag. My breath stopped when she pulled out my father's silver fountain pen. "Where did you get that?" "From your desk." "You had no right." "We are married." That pen was his. And this company cannot live inside his shadow forever. She uncapped it. I wanted to tell her everything. I wanted to name the Cole Legacy Trust, the voting conditions, and the clause she had signed without reading. Instead, I watched Victor. He did not look at Elena. He watched the pen touch paper. "Do not sign," I said. Elena hesitated. Victor murmured, "You wanted your own future." Her jaw hardened. She signed. Security entered when Marcus nodded. Elena avoided my eyes. "Please leave quietly." 2 guards approached me. I walked toward the door without resisting. As I passed Elena, she whispered, "Please don't make this ugly." I stopped beside her. "You already did." Outside, the doors closed behind me. I stared through the glass at my wife celebrating with a man she once loved. She believed she owned Veyron. I wondered whether she remembered signing the trust agreement at all. The truth waited beneath every signature, silent and patient, while the people inside toasted a victory they had never truly won. Chapter 2. The Husband She Erased. My office badge failed before I reached the elevator the next morning. The scanner flashed red. I tried again. Your access has been suspended, the receptionist said. By whom? She swallowed. The chief executive's office. My wife. I was told not to discuss it. My phone vibrated. A bank alert informed me that my company expense account had been frozen. I called Elena. She answered after 4 rings. What? You locked me out. You were on administrative leave. You announced that after removing my access? I announced it yesterday. You said I was stepping away. I never agreed. You made a scene. I objected to theft. Stop using that word. What word would you prefer? Growth. I laughed once, without humor. Did Victor teach you that? Victor taught me that hesitation kills companies. And husbands. She went silent. I drove home and found 2 suitcases beside the staircase. Mine. Elena stood near the fireplace while her mother drank coffee on our sofa. Celia Hart looked at the luggage. At least she packed neatly. You knew? I asked. Celia lifted one shoulder. I knew. Elena finally became brave. Elena said, Mother, please. No, let her speak, I said. She has waited years for this. Celia placed her cup down. You are kind, Adrian. Kind men are useful until real decisions must be made. I created the company that paid for this house. And then you gave it to my daughter because you knew she was stronger. Elena crossed her arms. This is not about the house. It is about Victor, I said. It is about Veyron. Then why is my marriage packed into 2 suitcases? Her eyes flickered, but Celia answered first. Because marriage should not become a cage. I turned toward Elena. Am I a cage? You became one. How? You question every risk. You protect engineers who miss targets. You act like loyalty matters more than results. People matter more than quarterly applause. That is why you could never lead us forward. I remembered placing the CEO contract before her 3 years earlier. You cried when I gave you that position, I said. I cried because I believed you respected me. I did. No. You trusted me only because you thought I would run your dream your way. That is not true. Then accept my decision. Handing our patents to your former lover is not leadership. Celia stood. Victor is a real businessman. I looked at her. He lost 3 funds. He recovered. With whose money? Elena stepped closer. Leave. My phone rang from an unknown number. I answered while holding her gaze. Adrian? Maya whispered. Yes. I cannot speak long. Elena's expression sharpened. Who is it? I turned away. Maya said, Victor made me revise the revenue forecast before the vote. My grip tightened. How much? 22%. He wanted the company to look weaker. Did Elena know? A pause. Maya. She approved the final report. My chest went cold. There is more, Maya said. Elena signed a personal guarantee for Dane Capital's bridge loan. How large? 40 million. Using what as security? Her shares. I looked at Elena. She watched me with suspicion. Maya, preserve everything. I am scared. So am I. I ended the call. Who was that? Elena asked. Someone who still understands numbers. Her face changed. Do not drag employees into our marriage. You dragged our marriage into the company. What did they tell you? That Victor understands the future. He does. And the $40 million guarantee? Celia's mouth opened. Elena stared at me. You check my private finances? Did you sign it? It is temporary. You pledged the company. I pledged my shares. I almost told her those shares were not hers to pledge. Instead, I said, show me the agreement. No. Because you trust him more than me? Because you want control. I walked past her toward the study. My father's pen case sat open on the desk. Empty. A faint smell of smoke reached me. I crossed to the fireplace and saw shredded paper beneath fresh ash. What did you burn? I asked. Elena stopped in the doorway. Nothing important. I knelt and pulled out a blackened strip. 3 words remained readable. Dane Capital Payment. I held the strip. What was this payment for? Elena looked past me. Consulting. To whom? I do not remember invoices. You remember enough to burn the audit. I burned old papers. Then why are you afraid to look at me? Celia moved between us. Put that thing down. I folded the strip into my wallet. No. This may be the first honest thing left. Elena's voice cracked. You assumed the worst. I assumed the best for years. That is how we reached this morning. Below them was a number I had never seen. $9 million. Chapter 3. The clause she never read. Nora opened her apartment door and stared at the soot on my sleeve. What happened? My marriage caught fire. That is not funny. I was not joking. I placed the burned audit strip on her kitchen table. My younger sister read the surviving words, then looked at me. Did Elena burn this? She says it was old paper. And you believed her? I stopped believing her yesterday. Nora poured coffee into 2 cups. You should have stopped 3 years ago. I came for help, not judgment. You came because judgment finally became useful. I sat down. Explain the shares again. Her eyes narrowed. You know how they work. I need to hear it without remembering our wedding. Nora opened a locked cabinet and removed a thick blue folder. The Cole Legacy Trust owns 51% of Veyron Labs, she said. You are the controlling beneficiary. I am the administrative trustee. Elena receives the dividends, and she holds a public voting proxy. She believes the shares belong to her. Because you let her believe it. I told her the stock came through the trust. You gave her 80 pages on the morning you made her CEO. She had lawyers. She had a husband she trusted. The words landed harder than I expected. I wanted her to feel free, I said. No. You wanted to know whether she would love you without knowing your power. That is not fair. It is exactly fair. I looked away. Nora slid the folder toward me. Read section 14. I found the marked page. Any voting authority terminates upon fraud, self-dealing, material concealment, or unauthorized transfer of protected assets. I read. Her proxy can be revoked immediately. Can we stop the deal? If she violated the clause. She transferred the patents. She proposed a transfer. Yesterday's signature may be conditional. Then we need proof. A knock interrupted us. Daniel Reed entered carrying a leather case. Our general counsel removed his glasses before sitting across from me. I hoped we would never have this conversation, he said. So did I. Nora pushed the burned strip toward him. Recognize it? Daniel studied it. It could be part of an internal audit memo. Could be. The original disappeared from the compliance server. I asked, who deleted it? Someone using executive credentials. Elena? I cannot prove that. Victor? He should not have credentials yet. Nora said, tell Adrian about the clause. I know the clause, Daniel replied. Then stop the transfer. Daniel faced me. The board will argue that Elena acted within her proxy authority. I need evidence that she knew the transaction harmed Veyron or benefited her personally. She pledged the shares for Victor's loan. That helps if we obtain the guarantee legally. I leaned forward. What happens if I revoke her proxy now? The deal freezes. The marriage probably ends. The board accuses you of hiding control. Investors panic. My marriage ended when she signed. Pain is not evidence. Nora crossed her arms. Neither is cowardice. Daniel ignored her. Adrian, do you want revenge, or do you want the truth? I looked at the folder between us. I want to protect the company. That was not my question. I thought of Elena holding my father's pen while Victor watched. I want both. I admitted. Then choose truth first. Revenge makes careless witnesses. I nodded slowly. We gather proof. Daniel opened his case. That brings me to this. He placed a patent access authorization on the table. My name appeared beneath a perfect copy of my signature. I touched the ink. I never signed this. I know. Nora read the document. This gives Dane capital access to the protected archive. Full access, Daniel said, including the solid-state battery designs. I stared at my own false name. Who submitted it? Elena's office. I asked. When was the drawer opened? Last night, Jonas said. Logs show Elena's code. I closed my hand around the key. That code belonged to Elena, but Victor knew how to use her trust. Can the archive be opened? I asked. Daniel nodded. The authorization lists Victor as an agent. Then revoke it. I challenged it, but Elena can override me unless we freeze her proxy. Nora pushed the folder. There is your answer. I stared at Elena's name beside mine. Not yet. Why are you protecting her? I am protecting the line between betrayal and a crime. Daniel said. That line may disappear. Victor enters the archive. My phone began ringing. Elena. Nora said. Answer. I declined the call. Daniel gathered the papers, but I kept my hand on the forged authorization. My wife had not only tried to give away my company. Someone had used my name to unlock its heart. Chapter 4. The man she chose twice. Victor fired Jonah before breakfast. Jonah called me from the parking lot outside Veyron. He had security walk me out, he said. What reason did he give? Insubordination. What did you refuse? To hand him the archive keys. Stay there. I am coming. You cannot enter the building. Then meet me across the street. 20 minutes later, Jonah sat opposite me in a crowded diner, still wearing his Veyron badge. He placed it beside his untouched coffee. 16 years, he said. That badge opened every door yesterday. It will again. Do not promise what you cannot control. I can control more than they think. He studied me. How much more? Enough to stop the transfer if we prove misconduct. Then prove it quickly. Victor ordered the research team to prepare the patent files for foreign servers. Which servers? He would not say. Did Elena approve it? He carried an order with her signature. My stomach tightened. Real? It looked real. So did mine. Jonah leaned closer. What does that mean? Someone forged my authorization. He swore under his breath. Then call the police. Daniel wants evidence linking the forgery to the transfer. While lawyers debate, Victor is emptying the building. I froze his archive request. For how long? Not long enough. Jonah pushed his coffee away. He also asked about the original plant. What about it? How quickly we could move the equipment. Move it where? Overseas. The noise around me faded. That plant employs 400 people. He called them legacy costs. I reached for my phone. Jonah caught my wrist. Do not call Elena angry. I am already angry. That is why I said it. My phone rang before I could answer him. Elena's name filled the screen. I accepted. Did you fire Jonah? I removed an employee who refused a lawful order. He protected encrypted research. He blocked the new transition team. Victor has no authority before the shareholder vote. He has my authority. You gave him access to protected patents? I gave him access to review operations. He plans to move the files overseas. A pause followed. Who told you that? Is it true? Do not avoid my question. Jonah told me. Her voice hardened. He is disloyal. Does loyalty mean silence now? It means respecting leadership, even when leadership sells the building around us. You are being dramatic, and you are hiding behind Victor. She ended the call. Jonah released a tired breath. That sounded healthy. She did not deny it. She did not need to. Maya entered the diner 10 minutes later wearing dark glasses and a baseball cap. Jonah blinked. Are we robbing a bank? Lower your voice, she said. I moved aside. What did you bring? She slid a flash drive across the table. Payment records. Marcus received 3 consulting transfers from Dane Capital. How much? 200,000 each. Jonah whistled. That buys a lot of professional judgment. I asked, can you prove the accounts belong to Marcus? The payment notes list his private advisory company. Did Elena see them? No. Victor routed them outside our system. Then she may not know Marcus was paid. Maya removed her glasses. Her eyes were red. She knew the company was undervalued. I felt my jaw lock. How far below market? Almost 30%. Why did she approve it? Victor promised Dane Capital would return the difference after a merger. Jonas stared at her. That is not a promise. That is bait. I told her, Maya said. She said Victor understood private finance better than I did. I asked, did you document your warning? Yes. Preserve it. I already did. For the first time, Maya looked directly at me. I should have called sooner. You were afraid. I am still afraid. So am I. Jonah tapped the table. Fear does not protect those workers. His words cut through my anger. I had spent 2 days thinking about my wife, my humiliation, my company. 400 families faced losing their jobs while I measured my pain. You are right, I said. Maya leaned forward. What will you do? I will stop waiting for Elena to admit she is wrong. Jonah reached into his coat and placed a small metal device beside his badge. My founder key. I stared at it. Where did you get that? Your old lab drawer. I keep it locked. The drawer was open. I picked up the key and saw a fresh scratch across its edge. I asked, when was the drawer opened? Last night, Jonas said. Logs show Elena's code. I closed my hand around the key. That code belonged to Elena, but Victor knew how to use her trust. Jonas said, someone copied it. Maya whispered, can a copy open the archive? Yes, I said. It can open everything. Chapter 5. I let them think I was broken. I rented a one-room apartment above a closed bakery and made sure Elena heard about it. 3 days later, Victor called. I hear you are adjusting to ordinary life, he said. The pipes complain less than my board. He laughed. Sell me your 2%. Make an offer. Dinner tonight. Neutral ground. You choose the restaurant. I already did. The restaurant had private booths and waiters who never interrupted. Victor ordered wine without asking me. You look tired, he said. You look expensive. Success costs money. So does failure. Your creditors know that. His smile barely moved. Still chasing old stories? I am considering your offer. 2% is symbolic. Then why buy it? Elena wants a clean transition. Elena wants many things. He lifted his glass. She always did. I let silence invite him forward. Victor said, she needed someone bold enough to use her ambition. Use it. Guide it. You left her when she was 22. I had no money. You have debts now. I have leverage. My wife. Your wife chose me before she understood what choosing meant. I kept my hands below the table so he would not see them tighten. Did she choose you now? She chose the future. You mean my patents? I mean scale. I slid a sale proposal toward him. Pay this, and my 2% is yours. His eyes dropped to the number. This is unreasonable. Then the shares matter. They matter to Elena. Everything seems to. Victor leaned closer. You want advice? Take the money, sign the divorce, and disappear with dignity. I thought dignity was old news. It is useful for defeated men. Victor poured a glass. Elena said you would bargain. She predicts me. She knows you hate conflict. She knew my old self. And who are you now? A man deciding what losing is worth. He smiled. You have already lost. Then tell me why you need my signature. His fingers paused. For completeness. No. You need every loose end tied before your lenders examine Veyron. His expression cooled. Be careful. I smiled at him. You invited me because you thought I was not. My phone vibrated once. The signal came from Layla Santos, seated 2 rooms away with Jonah. She had enough recorded conversation. I stood. Send the offer through Daniel. Victor smiled. You finally understand. I understand more every day. Outside, Layla joined me beneath the restaurant awning. He admitted nothing illegal, she said. He admitted arrogance. Arrogant people keep talking. She handed me a folder. His debts are worse than we thought. Dane Capital owes $78 million across 5 lenders. Public records? Some. Former employees confirmed the rest. Can they testify? 2 will. Jonah arrived carrying coffee. Daniel says the board minutes are preserved. Maya. She saved the original forecasts on an offline drive. I looked at Layla. What else? She hesitated. Messages between Elena and Victor. My chest tightened. How did you get them? A former assistant retained backups. Were they obtained legally? The assistant had authorized access then. What do they say? Enough to embarrass your wife. I asked what they say. Layla opened the folder. Elena complained that you made her feel like a caretaker. Victor told her the company should have been hers from the beginning. They discussed removing you months ago. I closed the folder without reading. You need this, she said. I need evidence of fraud. Public pressure could force the board to retreat and turn my marriage into entertainment. She betrayed you. That does not make every private sentence public property. Layla studied me. Are you protecting her? I am protecting myself from becoming Victor. Jonah nodded once. Layla took the folder back. I will hold the messages unless they prove a crime. Thank you. My phone rang after midnight. A voice note from Victor appeared before I could answer. He had sent it to me instead of Marcus. His voice filled the apartment. Once the money clears, move the patents through the Singapore company. Elena signed the guarantee, so she takes the blame if regulators look. Keep her calm until the vote. Marcus replied inside the same recording. And Adrian? Victor laughed. He will be gone. The message ended. I sat on the edge of the narrow bed, listening to the pipes knock inside the wall. Nora called seconds later. Did you receive something? I received the truth. Send it to Daniel. I will. Adrian, this can save Elena. I looked at our wedding photograph lying face down beside my suitcase. It can also let her pretend she was only a victim. What do you want? I played Victor's laugh again. I want her alive, I said. I also want her responsible. For the first time, those wishes felt harder to separate than love and hate. Chapter 6. The last time I tried to save her. Elena knocked at 9 the night before the vote. I opened the apartment door and saw our wedding ring box in one hand and my father's empty pen case in the other. You found me, I said. This address was on your sale proposal. Victor showed you? We do not hide business from each other. I stepped aside. That must feel new. She entered and looked around the single room. You chose this place to make me feel guilty. I chose it because my accounts are frozen. You have personal money. You checked. I know my husband. No. You knew his balance sheet. She placed the ring box on the table. I came to discuss the divorce. Before or after you transfer my company? Our company. Not after tomorrow. Her eyes narrowed. What does that mean? It means Victor is using you. You have said that enough. Have you heard his voice note? She went still. What voice note? I played it. Victor's voice filled the room. Elena signed the guarantee, so she takes the blame if regulators look. The message ended. Elena stared at my phone. Where did you get that? He sent it to me by mistake. It could be edited. Daniel verified the file. Victor would not say that. You heard him. I heard a recording. I wanted to shake the denial out of her. Why are you fighting harder for him than you ever fought for us? Her face twisted. Because he never made me feel borrowed. What did I borrow from you? The title, the office, the respect. Everyone looked at me and saw your wife. I made you CEO because you were qualified. You made me CEO because you could take it back. I felt the trust documents like a weight behind my ribs. I never threatened to. You never had to. Veyron began with your idea, your family's money, your name. I was always living inside your gift. I loved you. You loved being needed. The accusation hurt because part of it was true. I should have told you more, I said. About what? About why I stepped away. About how afraid I was that power would change us. It changed you first. You became cautious and called it wisdom. I watched investors praise you while asking for pieces of the company. Victor praised me without asking permission. He asked for everything. Her eyes filled, but her voice stayed sharp. Before I met you, he made me feel like I could own a room. With you, I always felt grateful. I never asked for gratitude. You expected it. Maybe I did. The honesty silenced us. She opened the ring box. Both rings rested inside. I want a clean divorce after the deal closes, she said. Why wait? Because public conflict could hurt the vote. Still protecting the company? I am protecting what I built. You mean what we built? She looked away. I asked, do you want me to save you? Her breath caught. Can you? Yes. The answer escaped before caution stopped it. She moved closer. Without humiliating me, I saw the woman who had once slept beside me on the garage floor while our first battery test ran through the night. I wanted to tell her about the trust, the clause, and the evidence. I wanted one honest reason to choose mercy. What are you willing to do? I asked. End the attacks. Sell your shares. Sign the divorce settlement. And Victor? He will manage the transition. I step back. You still choose him. I choose the future. Even after hearing that recording, people say things about money. People do not plan who takes the blame. You want me frightened. I want you awake. You want me back. I wanted you to come back standing. Sign the settlement, and I will make sure Victor leaves you something. Whatever remained of my hope went quiet. You came here to buy my silence with scraps from my own life. I came to stop you from destroying yourself. No. You came because part of you believes the recording. She picked up the ring box. Tomorrow this ends. Yes, I said. It does. After she left, my phone rang. Maya was crying. Victor ordered a patent transfer at midnight, she said. The server team says the destination account is outside the merger documents. Can you delay it? 20 minutes. Maybe less. I opened Nora's secure message and pressed the activation link. What are you doing? Maya asked. What I should have done sooner. I entered my trust code. The screen displayed one final warning. Proxy authority will be suspended immediately. I pressed confirm. Stop the transfer, I said. Maya breathed out. How? Elena's authority is frozen. She does not know. She will tomorrow. Chapter 7. The shares she never owned. The boardroom felt colder the next morning. Victor stood beside the presentation screen while Marcus checked his watch. We have delayed long enough, Marcus said. Begin the final vote. Elena sat at the head of the table with my father's silver pen beside her hand. Victor smiled at the directors. The transfer is complete in every material respect. Today's vote confirms the new structure. I opened the door. Every face turned toward me. Nora entered at my side. Daniel followed with Maya, Jonah, and Layla. Marcus rose. Security removed you from this building. Daniel placed a folder on the table. Security will not interfere with company counsel. You work for the board, Marcus snapped. I work for Veyron Labs. Elena stared at me. Why are they with you? Because they know what Victor tried to do. Victor laughed. This is theater. No, I said. The theater ended when the money started moving. Marcus pointed toward the door. Adrian owns 2%. He has no standing to interrupt. Nora stepped forward. That statement is false. Elena looked at her. What are you doing? My duty as trustee. The room went silent. Marcus frowned. Trustee of what? Nora placed the blue folder before him. The Cole Legacy Trust, legal owner of 51% of Veyron Labs. Elena's face lost color. That is impossible, she said. I held her gaze. No, it is what you signed. She shook her head. Those shares were mine. You received the profits and controlled the voting proxy. You gave them to me. I gave you authority. Victor grabbed the folder, but Daniel pulled it back. Do not touch evidence, Daniel said. Victor's voice hardened. Evidence of what? Maya connected her laptop to the screen. False forecasts, she said. The revenue projection shown at the first vote was reduced by 22% under Mr. Dane's direction. Elena turned toward her. You approved those numbers. I signed after you ordered me to use them. You never objected. Maya opened an email. I objected here, and here. Jonah placed my founder key on the table. I was fired after refusing to release encrypted patent files, he said. Someone copied this key using Elena's executive access code. Elena looked at Victor. You said the archive review was legal. It was, he replied. They are twisting routine actions. Daniel displayed the forged authorization. Is this routine, he asked. Elena stared at my false signature. I did not create that. Your office submitted it, Daniel said. Victor stepped between her and the screen. Focus on the vote. I played his voice note. His own words filled the boardroom. Elena signed the guarantee, so she takes the blame if regulators look. Elena whispered, Victor? He did not face her. Marcus slammed his palm down. An accidental recording proves nothing. Layla spoke from behind me. The lenders disagree. So do two former Dane Capital employees. Marcus pointed at her. A reporter has no place here. She is here as a witness, Daniel said. Nora opened the trust agreement. Section 14 terminates voting authority upon fraud, self-dealing, concealment, or unauthorized transfer of protected assets. Elena looked at me as if I had become a stranger. You own my shares? You controlled them because I trusted you. The trust owned them because my father trusted me. You hid this from me. I told you the shares came through the trust. You never said you could take them back. I hoped I never would. Victor leaned toward her. Do not let him confuse you. Sign the final approval. Elena looked at him, then at the silver pen. Marcus pushed the document closer. Sign. Her hand shook as she picked up the pen. I said, that signature has no authority. Nora lifted a sealed notice. Elena Cole's proxy was revoked at midnight. Marcus sank into his chair. I took my place at the table. As controlling beneficiary, I cast the trust's votes to cancel the transfer, remove Marcus Bell as chairman, and suspend Elena Cole as chief executive pending investigation. Victor lunged across the table for Daniel's folder. Jonah caught his arm. The doors opened behind us. 2 investigators entered with building security. One investigator showed Victor a warrant. Step away. Victor pointed at me. This is his revenge. I answered, you forged my name and planned to steal the patents. Elena authorized everything. Her head snapped toward him. You said I was protected. He looked at her. You signed the guarantee. The pain on her face moved me, but I remembered the warnings she had rejected. Marcus whispered, we can negotiate. Nora said, you already negotiated with Victor. Victor froze. Elena silently clutched the pen. Adrian, what happens now? The truth. Can you stop it? I stopped Victor. I meant me. That depends on what you admit. Chapter 8. When Karma entered the room. Victor's empire collapsed faster than he had built it. 3 days after the board meeting, Daniel called me. 2 banks froze Dane Capital's credit, he said. What about the patent transfer? Blocked. The receiving account belonged to a shell company Victor controlled. And Marcus? He resigned before the emergency vote. That does not erase the payments. No. Investigators have the records. Victor's partners are cooperating, Daniel continued. They say he promised every lender the assets. Will Elena be charged? That depends on what she knew. What do you think? I think she ignored facts because the lie made her feel powerful. Marcus wants immunity, Daniel added. For selling his vote? For explaining Victor's plan? Give investigators the choice. I will not bargain for him. When I reached the lobby, conversation stopped. A technician named Luis approached me. Are we losing the plant? He asked. No. Our jobs? Not because of this deal. He nodded. Thank you for coming back. His relief reminded me why revenge alone was too small. I ended the call and walked through Veyron's main floor. Employees watched me pass with cautious faces. Jonah met me outside the laboratory. The archive is secure, he said. How much left the servers? Nothing useful. Maya stopped the upload before the encryption package completed. I released a breath I felt I had been holding for weeks. Thank her. She is in your old office. Maya stood when I entered. I can move, she said. I know this room is personal. It is the CEO's office. I am only interim CEO. Then use it until the board removes interim. Her eyes widened. You trust me after I stayed silent? I trust what you did after you stopped. I should have spoken sooner. So should I. My phone rang. Elena's name appeared. I need to see you, she said. About the investigation? About us. There is no us. Please, Adrian. We met in a small conference room away from the staff. Elena wore no makeup and no wedding ring. My father's pen rested in her hand. Mother says I should leave the country, she said. Celia gives advice when consequences belong to other people. She says you planned this. I planned to stop the transfer. She says you wanted to humiliate me. What do you say? Elena looked down. I do not know anymore. The door opened without warning. Celia stepped inside. Elena, do not admit anything, she said. I stood. This meeting is private. I am her mother. You are also Victor's loudest supporter. Celia's mouth tightened. I supported a respectable opportunity. You called him a real businessman. I could not know he was a criminal. Elena stared at her. You told me Adrian was holding me back. You are an adult. Do not place your choices on me. The words struck Elena harder than anything I could have said. Celia grabbed her handbag. Call me when your lawyers have a strategy. After she left, Elena whispered, "She is abandoning me. She is protecting herself. So are you." "No. I am telling the truth even when it hurts me." She looked at the pen. "Victor manipulated me." "Yes. You agree? He fed your pride, hid his debts, and used your signature. Then help me. I am helping by refusing to lie. If you submit the voice note, I could face charges. You signed false reports and an unauthorized guarantee. I trusted him. You trusted him after Maya warned you. You trusted him after I warned you. You trusted him because admitting doubt felt like losing." Tears filled her eyes. "What do you want me to say?" "Say you chose." Her breath shook. "I chose," she whispered. "Again, I chose him. And the deal. And the deal." The anger inside me loosened, but it did not disappear. "Daniel will submit every relevant record," I said. "I will not hide evidence." She wiped her face. "Will you give Layla the messages?" "No." "Why?" "Because justice does not require public cruelty." She placed my father's pen on the table. "I am sorry." I picked it up. The silver felt colder than I remembered. Elena reached for my hand. I stepped back. "Justice is what remains after anger stops speaking," I said. She lowered her arm. "Is there any future where you forgive me?" I looked at the woman I had loved and understood that forgiveness was not a door back into my life. "Yes," I said, "but forgiveness is not the same as return." Chapter 9. The company I chose to leave. 6 months later, I stood in Maya's office while she signed the employee ownership plan. "You are sure?" she asked. "I have been sure for 3 months. You are giving employees 20% of the trust. I am giving them protection. The board will call it sentimental. The board once called Victor strategic." She smiled. "That argument may work forever." Jonah entered carrying a framed photograph of our first prototype. "Where does this go?" he asked. "Not in my house," I said. "You kept it in your office for 15 years. That was before my office became Maya's." Maya pointed toward the wall. "Put it beside the patent display." Jonah studied me. "You are really leaving?" "I am leaving daily control." "You hate golf?" "I will find a better failure." My phone vibrated with Daniel's final update. His message read, "Victor's trial begins in 2 weeks. Marcus surrendered his licenses and left business. Elena accepted a settlement without company authority or claim against Veyron." Daniel called. "Elena signed every settlement document," he said. "Objections?" "She requested one condition." "What condition?" "She wants the company to stop using her name in promotional materials." "That is reasonable." "She waived any claim against the trust." I looked at employees gathering below. "Did she ask about me?" Daniel paused. "She asked whether you seemed happy." "What did you say?" "That happiness was no longer part of my duties." I laughed. "Adrian," he said, "walking away does not erase what happened." "I know." "Then why leave?" "Because staying only to prove I won would make Veyron a prison." Maya watched my face. "Bad news." "Old news becoming official." "And the divorce?" "Final this morning." "I am sorry." "I am not." The answer surprised me, but it was true. Nora arrived holding an envelope. "This came through my office," she said. I recognized Elena's handwriting. "You opened it?" I asked. I considered steam. "Nora." I did not. I carried the letter to the old garage where Jonah and I had built Veyron's first battery. The landlord still stored broken shelves along one wall. I sat on the floor and unfolded the page. "Adrian, I spent months blaming Victor, Mother, Marcus, and you. Blame was easier than seeing myself. I thought your trust meant I could never lose your respect. I treated being trusted like being untouchable. Victor did not create my pride. He only learned how to feed it. I know sorry cannot rebuild what I destroyed. I hope freedom gives you what my love failed to give you. Elena." I read the letter twice. Nora waited outside the garage. "Do you want to answer?" she asked. "No." "Do you forgive her?" "I do not know." "That sounds like no." "It sounds like I no longer need the answer today." She sat beside me. "Do you feel victorious?" I thought about Victor facing trial, Marcus disappearing from boardrooms, and Elena signing away the authority she once believed defined her. "No." Then what do you feel? Free. Nora leaned her head against my shoulder. Dad would be proud. He would ask why it took me so long. He would ask whether you learned. I learned that silence is not strength. What is? Speaking before resentment speaks for me. We returned to Veyron for the employee foundation ceremony. Maya addressed the gathered workers. No leader should hold this company's future alone. She invited me forward. I carried my father's silver fountain pen to a glass display beside the original prototype. Jonah whispered, "Are you certain that belongs here?" It spent too long representing one family. I placed it beneath a small plaque. Built by trust. Protected by many. Luis, the technician who had approached me after the board meeting, raised his hand. "Does this mean we really own part of Veyron?" "Yes," I said. "And it means leadership answers to you." Applause filled the room. For years, I had believed the company was my proof that I mattered. Then I believed saving it would heal me. I was wrong both times. The company was work. The marriage was love. Neither was my identity unless I surrendered it. At the exit, Maya asked, "Where will you go?" "I do not know." "That frightens you?" "A little." I looked back once at the pen, the prototype, and the people who would continue without me. Then I walked outside. My victory was not owning the shares Elena tried to give away. My victory was choosing a life nobody else could own.